Shalom, brothers and sisters. So let's touch on a few stories coming out of Israel that paint the picture of what's been going on up until now. And again, if you have Telegram or you don't have Telegram, we have channels on Telegram for JCOMES where we do up-to-date news hourly, sometimes by the minute, as they're happening in Israel, that we're sourcing from all the channels we can reach and placing them there because there is too much. It is constantly happening in the Middle East, and it is chaotic how fast things are going down at the moment because we're at the end of the age of mankind, and we see this prophetically all the time. But here are the main stories out of the main media. Biden has warned Bibi not to attack Iran's nuclear sites, but key US and Israeli leaders say it is time. President Joe Biden publicly warned Netanyahu not to use the Iranian attack on the Jewish state with nearly 200 ballistic missiles as a pretext to order large-scale attacks against Iran's nuclear facilities. We'll be discussing with the Israelis what they're going to do, but all seven of us agree they have a right to respond, and they should respond proportionally, Biden said Wednesday, referring to his conversation. So then proportionally, Israel should launch 200 ballistic missiles at Iran, and then you'll see how America and the UN will freak out. Obviously, Iran is way off course, Biden said, but he insisted it should not be an excuse for Israel to escalate the situation. Remember, it's fine to attack Israel, but Israel shouldn't respond because then they're escalating. A growing number of key US and Israeli voices are urging Netanyahu and his government to use this moment for a knockout blow to the Iranian regime. Now, I, for one, am going to be really disappointed if they don't use this opportunity to either smack A, their oil reserves and platforms and hurt them financially, or B, take out the nuclear threat, which Netanyahu has had as his hobby horse since he started the very first term, all the way through to now. It is a constant threat to Israel. If even one of those 200 ballistic missiles had a nuclear warhead, and even if it missed any of the areas it was supposed to hit, as they usually do because these people are useless in the face of God, that nuclear warhead could have caused how much damage? So again, but God. But you have an opportunity now to strike the nuclear sites and get rid of that ability once and for all. I would take it. Seriously, if it was the last thing Netanyahu does before he goes out in a blaze of glory, take out the nuclear sites you've been talking about for all these years and be done with it. This is really his opportunity, and I, again, for one, am hoping that he takes it. Israel's response to Iranian attack will be precise and surprising. Again, hopeful it's nuclear. The IDF chief said, "We will choose when to exact the price," which officials said will be significant. The regime in Iran does not understand our determination to defend ourselves and our determination to retaliate against our enemies. They will understand. We will stand by the rule we established. Whoever attacks us, we will attack him, Netanyahu continued. Now, my thoughts around that, they've got a set time, they've planned their targets, they've got it all prepped in their meetings. Good for them keeping it under wraps. I do believe that maybe why there's a pause now that we're waiting on, besides causing trauma to Iran's leadership in stressing, I think they're looking at the feasts, that they want to just get through the next few feasts, Yom Kippur and Tabernacle, Sukkot, get through these feasts and then deliver your knockout blow, full attention back on target, that they don't want another interruption or a re-attack from Iran's side after they're done hitting the nuclear sites or the oil or whatever, and then it again interrupts their feasts. It's a thought. So I'm thinking and hoping maybe that is the case, because the other one is really not a good thing, and that is that America is once again throttling them and holding them back and saying, don't do this, don't hurt their nuclear abilities, don't hit their oil, don't, defending Iran. And if Israel's listening to that and allowing themselves to be pulled back from what they should be doing, that is just crazy. The Pope on Nasrallah's elimination, immoral action. Asked about Israel's strike to eliminate the Hezbollah leader, Pope Francis said that even in war, there is morality to be safeguarded. What you are telling me, I didn't quite understand how things have been evolving, but defense must always be proportionate to the attack. When there is something disproportionate, a domineering tendency that goes beyond morality is evident. A country that with its forces does these things, I'm talking about any country that does these things in a superlative way, these are immoral actions. The Pope added, even in war, morality is to be safeguarded. War is immoral, but the rules of war indicate some morality. But when that is not respected, you can see, as we say in Argentina, the bad blood of these things. So he's saying bad blood for Israel for taking out Nasrallah, and it's not in proportionality. There's no morality in it. Nasrallah's the one who was pushing thousands and thousands of rocket into civilians all the time in Israel, northern Israel, non-stop. But to take out that one man is not proportionate. They should rather have fired thousands and thousands of rocket from Israel into Lebanese civilians. That would have made more sense to the Pope and kept Nasrallah alive. That's how ridiculous the thinking and the programming is coming from the evil upstairs. The upstairs, I mean the people that think they're running things. Khomeini threatens Israel in Hebrew, and Geert Wilders fires back in an explosive exchange. Now this is beautiful. I love this. Khomeini threatened Israel in Hebrew, which prompted Wilders to label him a psychopath. In an unusual exchange on X, formerly Twitter, Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and Dutch politician Geert Wilders both tweeted in Hebrew, further intensifying the rhetoric surrounding the Israel-Hamas conflict. Khamenei threatened that the blows of the resistance front will grow stronger and more painful against the worn and decaying body of the Zionist regime, signaling Iran's increasing hostility towards Israel. Wilders responded with a sharp rebuke, calling Khamenei a psychopath and a dangerous maniac, while affirming his unwavering support for Israel. Reason, democracy, and freedom will prevail, Wilders declared. Now, go Wilders, really brilliant. Thank you for standing up for Israel publicly and for doing it in Hebrew and straight in Ali Khamenei's face. I mean, come on, that is next level. I'm impressed. Israel declares UN Secretary General Guterres persona non grata. Now, this couldn't have happened soon enough. It should have happened ages ago, in my opinion. Foreign Minister Israel Katz bans Guterres for failure to condemn Iran and Hamas, accusing him of supporting terror. Israel declared United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres persona non grata and barred him from entering the country. The decision came in response to what Katz described as Guterres' failure to unequivocally condemn Iran's recent missile attack on Israel. Anyone who cannot unequivocally condemn Iran's heinous attack on Israel, as almost every country in the world has done, does not deserve to step foot on Israeli soil, Katz wrote. He further criticized Guterres for not denouncing Hamas' use of sexual violence or condemning the group's October 7 massacre. Katz's statement accused Guterres of offering tacit support to terrorist organizations, including Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran-backed militias like the Houthis. A Secretary General who gives backing to terrorists, rapists, and murderers will be remembered as a stain on the history of the UN, Katz stated. United Nitwits. Ahmadinejad claims Mossad penetrated Iran's own anti-Mossad unit. Oh, this is beautiful. This is so typical Mossad, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Former Iranian president alleges that Israeli agents penetrated Iran's top security unit and stole nuclear secrets. The Iranian former president Mahmoud Ahmadinejad claimed in an interview with CNN Turkey that a unit established to counter Israeli intelligence operations was infiltrated by Mossad agents. He alleged that the Mossad, Israel's top security agency, had placed one of its agents in charge of the very unit tasked with combating its activities. You're doing an anti-Mossad unit? We have a Mossad agent for that. Here you go. Avi, go work for the anti-Mossad unit. Oh no, that is just totally ridiculous. He also alleges they were responsible for stealing sensitive Iranian nuclear documents, orchestrating the assassination of Iranian nuclear scientists. Duh. The former president asserted the alleged Mossad agents have since fled Iran and are now living in Israel. Obviously, the mission's done. They've already caused you chaos and embarrassment. It's just that's Mossad. Beirut was rocked by Israeli airstrikes as the WHO urged for a ceasefire, obviously. Israel carries out fresh strikes in South Beirut with explosions near city's international airport. Israel was targeting Hashem Safadin and got him, the rumored successor to Hassan Nasrallah. The US discussing a possible Israeli strike on Iran's oil sites. The WHO says, WHO, 28 health workers killed, probably all terrorists, in Lebanon in the past day, and urges a ceasefire. Israel carries out the deadliest air raid in the West Bank since 2000. The UN Health Agency said access to medical care is becoming limited as 36 health facilities closed in the south and 5 hospitals were either partly or fully evacuated in Beirut. Reports in Syria that Nasrallah's son-in-law amongst the 3 killed in the strike in Damascus. Syrian state media reported that Israel struck a residential building in the Mezas suburb of Damascus, killing 3 people. Saudi report says IRGC members were in the apartment when it was struck. Obviously, because that's how Israel does intelligence. That was the reason for the strike. The fun thing is this one. Deputy Secretary General of Hezbollah since 1991 resigns publicly. Naim Qassem has seen the writing on the wall and realized that Israel is removing everybody in leadership in any form in any terrorist organization. So he publicly gets up and resigns and wants to disappear. He wants to go and study and learn Islam somewhere safe in Iran. Not that Iran is safe at all, but that's clever. He sees the writing on the wall. He needs to get out fast because he's on a list now, because he's in the leadership. Problems coming. Problems. Results of Iran's attack. Now let's just go right back to that missile attack. This one that you see. Damage to 100 houses and a school. 3 Israelis wounded. 1 Palestinian killed in Jericho. Shrapnel hit towns near the Air Force Base and IDF bases in central Israel. 3 Israelis were lightly wounded by shrapnel. The only fatality from the attack was a Palestinian man from Gaza who was killed when a large piece of the intercepted rocket fell on him in Jericho. While IDF spokesperson Brigadier General Daniel Agari said most of the 190 ballistic missiles fired were intercepted, he acknowledged that there were several impacts in central and southern Israel. According to the Axios news outlet, the impacts occurred near an Air Force base in southern Israel, home of the advanced F-35s, which would be a good target if I was Iran, as well as in the area of IDF's intelligence base, Glilot, Mossad headquarters. Again, makes sense. In the town of Gedera, near the Talnof Air Base, a school suffered a direct hit and was badly damaged. Just to think, a few hours ago, there were hundreds of students here learning about Rosh Hashanah. A huge miracle happened to us, the director of the school's rabbi said. On Wednesday morning, the municipality of Hod HaSharon, a town adjacent to Glilot compound, announced that 100 homes were damaged in the assault, 1 suffering extensive damage. Iran fired 400 rockets. 180 of their 400 rockets reached Israel, and most intercepted. 220 fell in Iran, Iraq, and Jordan, killing many people, including lots, as in at least 5 IRGC guards died in a failed launch explosion in Iran with 12 injuries. And the ones that did fall in Israel fell in the empty spaces. And people say there's no miracles happening today, that God is not showing his hand and how powerful he is, but we see it clearly. We watch videos of missiles hitting the ocean just off the beach that have been sent from Iran, and God just looking after Israel. They fire a ballistic missile at Ukraine. It hits. We see the news of how many people died, buildings destroyed, everything. That's one. They fire 400 at Israel. But God. Keep praying for Israel. Keep praying for their hearts to soften, for them to meet their Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach, especially now that collectively as a nation they have a deep hunger and a calling in their hearts for their Messiah, that they realize who he really is and they can avoid what's lying at the door. God bless. Keep praying for Israel. Keep standing and shining your light, and keep looking up. Shalom.